We got double snap, thumbs up, let's go. Frito said that we sound great, and obviously, as you can tell from our jerseys here at the Rio Elite16 and our Volleyball World bucket hats, we look great. I'm Travis Mawerder, this is Kyle Friend. We are back, benvindo, on the Beach Pro Tour here at the Rio Elite16. And I could not be more excited to be here. And I know that coming from me, it sounds a bit redundant frequently, because I'm excited anytime I get to watch beach volleyball, but here in Rio, it is, to me, the most iconic spot on the Beach Pro Tour. It's the most iconic spot for the international beach volleyball period. So California, where Kyle Friend and I played a lot of beach volleyball in Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, that is the birthplace of professional beach volleyball as a profession. That's where the AVP Tour started. But in 1987, this was the very place where professional beach volleyball debuted on the international scene. Sinjin Smith, Karch Karai, Pat Powers, and the crew, Tim Hovland, Mike Dodd, Randy Stoklos, Kent Steffes, all the legends. They came down here from 1987 to 1993. Those 6 years, an American won every single time. In 1994, finally a Brazilian won it, but it created the roots of, to me, the greatest rivalry in the sport, which is USA versus Brazil. Men, women, doesn't matter. To me, Kyle, it's a special place for beach volleyball. After the Olympics in 2016, they put on a heck of a show, and just the history of it. It's my first time in Rio. I couldn't be more fired up to be here.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. And I echo those sentiments, Travis, and I think it's a privilege to be here and to have this event in Rio, and like you said, the birthplace of the very first rivalry of Brazil, United States, and all those amazing players that you mentioned. And like you said, in Hermosa, Manhattan, we have the birthplace in America there, and we've been able to live that and experience that. We haven't been able to. This is a whole other world. When we walked up to the course today, you're like, man, it's an energy here. There's a lot of people here. It's completely different than what we're used to, and I love that we get to kind of get our feet in the sand, literally, in Rio, and see some of the best teams in the world, and some of the best players in the world, and some who are leaving the sport, unfortunately, Travis.
There's a lot of history here, and there's especially a lot of history with one player in particular, Agatha Bednarzak, playing her final regular season tournament. I want to make sure that is clear. Regular season tournament. Agatha and Rebecca have qualified for the Beach Pro Tour Finals. That's in December in Doha, Qatar. But this is a farewell of sorts on it's been sort of after the Olympics, it's kind of one event after the other. It's just been the farewell tour on the Beach Pro Tour. And so this is Agatha's 160th international professional event. What a storied career she has had. 13 gold medals, 14 silver, 15 bronze. And the last time that the Beach Pro Tour stopped in Rio, guess who won that, Kyle Friend?
Agatha.
Agatha and Duda. Now, as the 2 seed with Rebecca, she could very well go out with a win at home in Brazil.
Yeah, I think they have a very good chance. They looked good in João Pessoa. Rebecca looked good, but they have another team here in the wings, one of the young rising teams, as you see passing of the old guard to the new. One of those teams, Tamala and Victoria, who were almost lights out in João Pessoa. They played phenomenal. It's like nothing, they could do nothing wrong, especially in that final match, but they're on a bit of a heater, as we like to say.
Yeah.
Bronze in Hamburg, gold in João Pessoa. This is only their 4th event together. So something about those two together has been clicking, has been working, and I believe that they have a really good shot at getting on the podium as well.
And it's an especially good shot because Ana Patricia and Duda sitting out. Now, there is still Barbara Seixas and Carol Salgado. To me, Kyle, on the women's side, even without Ana Patricia and Duda, this is Brazil's tournament to lose.
There's so many Brazilian teams. And between just those 3 teams alone, it would be hard as a betting man, if I was a 1x betting man, to bet against any one of those teams. Because I would believe that any one of those teams could win this whole tournament.
Very well could. So the Brazilian fans, no doubt, will have something to cheer for. And if Brasilia was an indicator, if João Pessoa was an indicator, these stands all around will be packed to the brim with fans. Now, as we have had a farewell tour of sorts, we said goodbye to Laura Ludwig. We're going to soon say goodbye to Agatha. We're also saying hello to a lot of new faces on the Beach Pro Tour and hello to a lot of new partnerships on the Beach Pro Tour. Now, the last couple of events, player I have taken note of for a long time since she started her college career at Loyola Marymount University in Santa Monica, California, is Rekha Orsi-Toth.
Yes.
Her sister, Victoria Orsi-Toth, one of the best players in Italian beach volleyball history, up there with Marta Menegatti, who has been playing with Valentina Gardi. Now, this tournament is the debut of Valentina Gardi and Rekka Orsi-Toth. New partnership for a federation that is on the rise. And Kyle, I am excited to see what Rekka and Valentina can do.
Yeah, I mean, we watched Rekka play in Jalpaso. You've watched her before, and I was really impressed with her defensive capabilities and how quick she is and how athletic laterally and how many balls that she dug. She's won a handful of medals on the Futures Tour. She's got a gold in Corleone. And so she's an experienced player, and now she gets to play with one of the best players in the world, Valentina Gardi, and I'm curious to see how those two can mesh out here, because I was impressed. I was super impressed with Rekka in Jalpasoa.
Very, and a shout out to Rekka's former partner, Giada Bianchi. She qualified with Claudia Scampoli, so both Italian teams into the main draw. Kyle, one element of that young team, so Valentina, she has become one of the brightest, most sensational talents on the Beach Pro Tour, was Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, nominated for Blocker of the Year, all in 2023. But she was playing with such a veteran in Marta Menegatti. Now she has another youngster in Rekka Orsi-Toth. How do you think that dynamic is going to play out on the court?
You know, I believe that now Valentina has played with a veteran, and now it's her turn to step up. And I think by playing with Rekka, it will require Valentina to be more composed, more emotionally in control, and rise to a different level that we haven't seen, because she gets pushed. She hasn't had the responsibility needed to be that anchor necessarily for her team, mentally, maybe emotionally, with Marta there. And so I think with Rekka, it's gonna push Valentina to be even better, you know, and it's sometimes just having that different partner and knowing, okay, I got you. You know, I got us. So I'm excited to see how that changes the dynamic of Valentina and her energy, because sometimes she can be really intense on the court, and every player plays differently. Every player's, when they're playing well, plays differently. And so I'm curious to see how she balances with Rekka.
I'm excited to see that one. I'm excited to see a lot of these new teams. One of the new teams on the men's side, Timo Hammerberg and Philip Waller. Now, it's not a lasting partnership, but one of the reasons that we wanted to point it out, because I first saw Hammerberg in Hamburg with Tim Berger. There's a lot of Bergs.
A lot of Bergs
going on, and they were awesome.
Yeah,
now,
fun.
Hammerberg is just 20 years old, playing with a proven veteran in Philip Waller, who I think has been at the tops of that Austrian federation for a long time. And even though it's not going to be a sustained partnership, Waller is going to start playing with Chris Dressler. Hammerberg will continue that young nucleus with Tim Berger. But I'm excited for the future that he has ahead of him.
He put on a show in Hamburg. He was 4th in points scored in all of the event in Hamburg. He was 3rd in blocks per match, only below Anders Mol and Bormans.
Pretty good company.
That's pretty good company. And they took a 9th in that tournament. And so Hammerberg and Waller, they will play in India and Philippines as well. So they get a couple tournaments together, and maybe Hamburg can steal some of that veteran, you know, Waller's still young, but still some of that veteran experience, that knowledge is being with him, and take that into his new partnership with Berger and see what they can do, because, man, he was phenomenal in Hamburg, and I'm excited to see them here, because Waller, as we know, he's a side-out machine. We got all the shots, a little baby line here, a little cutty here, so I'm excited to watch those guys play.
Fun to watch big young kids jump setting 6'9", just jump sauce sideways. Scary out there.
Thank goodness we're not playing anymore.
I like sitting here in my bucket hat. Now, just a word to the wise, do not play a drinking game every time you hear the word Berg. It'd be dangerous in that conversation. Another new team and another new player. Now, Adelmo Goncalves is not a youngster by Beach Pro Tour standards. He's 27 years young, but he's relatively new. And he's getting picked up by a heck of a partner, getting scooped up by Andre Loyola. Now, Andre and George will finish their partnership at the Doha Beach Pro Tour Finals in December. So they are still going to play that out, but George sitting this one out, Andre playing with Adelmo in this event. And I'm going to be frank, I have no idea what to expect from Adelmo, because we haven't seen him in a main draw above a Futures.
He's only 27 years young, only 2 seasons pretty much on the Beach Pro Tour. And so I got to watch, it was funny, we pulled up and I was watching practice and I saw Andre hitting some balls and I'm like, that is not George playing with him. And so it is going to be exciting, and what an experience, what an opportunity for Adelmo to kind of come out here and ball with one of the best that we have in our sport. And I'm excited for Andre and George to have one more event together, because I'm not ready to just let go of those two.
And it got cut short. It was tough to see the way that they ended in Joao Pessoa, with George coming up lame with the hamstring. He's going to be fine to compete, but as you said, I would like to see their partnership have a more fitting end.
a little bit longer, which we'll get. But in the meantime, Adelo gets the perks of playing with Andre, and they're going to be a crowd favorite for sure. And I would imagine it's a go out there and ball out, no expectations kind of mindset. Sometimes that's healthy, and maybe it'll help Andre as well.
Perhaps we will see. Now, a couple more partnerships, not necessarily new, but we mentioned Victoria and Tamala. They're going for their third straight medal in just 4 events as a team. Took a bronze at the Hamburg Elite 16, followed up with a gold in João Pessoa, a very emotional one. Both players is basically a tie for MVP,
Yes.
As we mentioned in our recap of the João Pessoa Elite 16. Another one that we haven't gotten to yet who came out of the qualifier, adding to a rough day, to say the least, for the American women. So Sandra Ittlinger and Kim Vandevelde, they dismissed good friends in FSU. Go Knowles. Florida State alums Brooke Bauer and Maddie Anderson in the final round of the qualifier. Now, Kim Vandevelde in João Pessoa, that was her first major main draw, and by major, above a futures or 1-star level since 2021.
Yeah.
And she follows it up again with a convincing. So you never say it's easy to make it through the qualifier, but they made it look easy today.
Yeah, she is speedy, and we know Sandra is more of a veteran. She's been playing a little bit longer, more consistently at a higher level. But I was really impressed with Kim Vandevelde in João Pessoa, scooping a ton of balls. The acrobatic digs I think that Kim makes is some of the most entertaining on tour, just watching her in one of those first events. So I'm excited to see they did a good job against your girls, Anderson and Bauer. Shout out to the USA teams who didn't make it out of the qualifier. There was a handful. A lot of USA teams in the qualifier, not a lot of USA teams
I
making it
thought
out.
about donning the red tank top as the bloodbath that it was for the Americans. So Hagen Smith, Logan Weber, they lost in a potential revenge match to Argentinians Maciel Bueno and Bautista Amieva. Congratulations to them. They do it again. 2 Elite 16s in a row. We have 2 Argentinian teams. New team came Shock, James Shaw. They go down in 3 against the Bayo brothers, Joaquim and Javi. They do it again. Back into the main draw. Hurricane, Kim Hildreth, Tegan Van Gunst. They can't continue their Cinderella run of bronze medal from João Pessoa. They're out in the qualifier. Already mentioned Maddie and Brooke and Kelly Wood and Tiffany Svensson. They go down in the first round. So Americans go 0 for 5 in the qualifier.
Yes.
Tough day for them. The last American team standing is your commentating team on the men's side and Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft. It's good to see them back on the Beach Pro Tour.
They are one of the happiest teams that you'll see on the tour. Their talk is so positive, and they're damn good at volleyball. We've had the privilege of practicing with them, with April and Alex, these last couple of weeks before the league and things like that, and they're just a very tough serving team. And it kind of be difficult to see who you want to serve because they both side out so well. And Megan Kraft, again, I think is on the rise to be one of the best players we have in the States, no question. Playing blocker for all 4 years at USC, winning 4 national championships.
Count them.
4 national championships as a blocker, and then coming out on the World Tour as a defender and getting a medal in Stade and playing phenomenal volleyball. So I expect them to get on the podium this
I
weekend.
think I'm with you on that one. We were both high on Qatar 2 weeks ago in João Pessoa.
Yes.
I think that if there's a team who's going to knock Brazil off of that gold medal podium, I think it's Therese and Meg. They have been knocking on the door and knocking on the door and knocking on the door. And I think, call my shot, 1x betting man, I'm going with Therese and Meg to win.
To win the whole thing.
I didn't, that's not on the card.
That's not on the card. We didn't
on
talk
the fly.
about that.
Gut
Wow,
instinct.
on the fly. I don't know if they win, but I think they're on the podium for sure.
So Therese and Meg, also most wholesome beach volleyball players. Therese Cannon, Megan Kraft, Sandra Ittlinger, Smiling Sandra.
Yeah.
If you are a young player and you want good role models to follow, those 3 good examples.
Agreed.
Now, as for Maciel Bueno, Bautista Amieva, congratulations to them, making a 2nd straight main draw. Fun new Argentinian team to watch, and a very fun new Chilean team to watch. For so long, we have been entertained, enthralled, captivated by Vicente Drogovic and No Arvenia, the street ballers that made their big breakthrough at the Tlaxcala Challenge all the way to the finals in 2022. Now, Drogovic has now picked up Fernando Quintero, and I had to check my notes to make sure his name was right because this is his first event. Kyle. And what do? They come out, they beat a very good Italian team, and then they beat a very good Portuguese team in 3.
Man, we got to watch this game here against Pedrosa Campos, who are playing really good volleyball and then qualified in João Pessoa and had a good tournament. Pedrosa was near the top 5, top 10 in terms of points scored for that João Pessoa event, and 21-year-old Fernando Quintero, he can ball. He's got a nice arm swing. He's bouncy out there. He was doing some split blocking with Vicente. And you saw that same passion from Droguet that we're used to seeing. And it's fun. He's pure entertainment on the court to watch. And congratulations to them, Fernando Quintero. Kid can ball.
Name to watch.
Yeah.
Name to watch for sure.
Big tournament. First one. Have you ever played your first event in Qualifier?
No, not especially not Elite 16. That's impressive to do at the Futures level.
It doesn't work like that.
At the Challenge level, it's ridiculous at the Elite 16 level. So big congrats to them.
Indeed.
Now this is the final event to qualify for the Beach Pro Tour Finals. Now the way that it works is the top 8 teams, as per World Tour rankings, which is measured by your best 8 finishes in the last 365 days, they are automatic qualifiers. There are then 2 wildcard spots per gender that may or may not be used. So if you are in the top 8, you are safe, and then you can make a case for yourself. Essentially what Rio is a last chance for teams to make a case for themselves. I think the team with the most to prove, one, Sharif Yunus and Ahmed Tijan, they can have a finish and put themselves automatically into the top 8, so they don't need a wild card, which given that it's in Doha, given that they play for Qatar, they're going to get the wild card. They're going to be in.
Probably get the wild card.
I think that the team with the most to prove to try to make it would be Argentinians Tomas Capagrosso and Nico Capagrosso. Nobody else is really even close.
Yeah, I would agree. And they had a great tournament in Joao Pessoa. They're on the rise. They've had a couple good events back to back. And so can they get one more good one here? One more to get their name in the hat for the finals.
It would be valuable, but already it's a good tournament for Argentina. 2 men's teams in the main draw.
Indeed.
Last thing I want to mention, the sand conditions. So we always want to mention what the environment that these athletes are playing in. Now, I got out, I was running around with Maddie Anderson and Brooke Bauer and Sandra and Kim before their match, and I would say on a scale of 1 to Espino being a 10 out of 10, deep, you step in it and you're shin deep, you can't move, you can't jump, I would give this a 6.
Yes.
So it is medium to deep. It's not deep enough that you are going to be in quicksand, but it's not shallow enough where you can get set 10 feet off the net consistently and still find crazy angles.
Right, and that changes the dynamic of the game a little bit. You see on some of the more shallow courts, you see a lot more hitting, a lot more heat. This one we agreed was just a little bit more shallow than Joao Pessoa. And the other factor, Travis, is the heat.
Yes.
It was hot today during the sun. When the sun was out, it will be also hot tomorrow. I think the high was in the 90s. And so the sand, a lot of sand socks out there on the sand today. I wonder if people will be out with the sand socks tomorrow on Brazil, or there's a lot of egos that won't be putting the sand socks out, and the local Brazilians. But the sand is a little darker and it gets a little bit hotter. So I think that's a factor, because the heat is tough, as we know, and it's just hard to play beach volleyball in the sand. Then you add in that heat, it makes it very difficult.
Yep. Wind was not a huge factor today being Wednesday qualifier day. We will see if the wind kicks up throughout the week, but the heat will be here. The sand is the medium to deep depth, and we got a lot of new young faces to watch. That's the way it goes in the fall, where a lot of the veteran players, they want to take off after playing a long summer. Some of the younger players coming in trying to make moves. Moves are being made out here in Rio de Janeiro. I'm Travis Mawerder, Kyle Friend behind the cam, as always. Daniel Freitas right at home here in Rio de Janeiro. Frito the Translito is peaking. Now we are going to turn the cameras off and turn it right back around to do a little fantasy beach volleyball draft. So be on the lookout for that, and we will see you soon. So ciao for now from Rio de Janeiro.